Hi, in this video, we will solve example sums relating to cost of materials consumed. Let's go to the first example sum. Example 1. Calculate the amount of stationery that will be debited to the income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2019. The stock of stationery on 1st April 2018, which is the beginning of the accounting period, is rupees 15,000. The payment made for stationery during the year ended 31st March 2019, rupees 54,000, and the stock of stationery in hand on 31st March 2019, that is the end of the accounting period, is rupees 2,500. So let's prepare the working note. Stationery account. Left side debit, right side credit. Particulars. Rupees. Particulars. Rupees. We'll begin with the opening balance of stationery. To balance brought down. Opening balance 15,000 rupees. The purchases of stationery is rupees 54,000 to bank for the purchases of stationery, 54,000 rupees. The closing stock of stationery by balance carried down, 2,500 rupees. We'll balance the account. The balancing figure is by cost of stationery consumed. Greater total 69,000 on the debit side. 66,500 is the balancing figure. So the stationery that needs to be debited to the income and expenditure account is 66,500. They haven't asked, but in case we prepare the extract of the income and expenditure account, income and expenditure account, extract for year ended 31st March 2019. Left side debit, right side credit. We have expenditure, rupees, and income, rupees. On the expenditure side, we will write to cost of stationery consumed. Amount 66,500 rupees. So we've solved the first example sum. We'll move on to the second example sum. Example 2. From the following information, determine the amount to be debited to stationery account in the income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2019. The stock of stationery on 1st April 2018, beginning of the year, rupees 30,000. The creditors for stationery on 1st April 2018, beginning of the year, rupees 20,000. The amount paid for stationery during the year ended 31st March 2019, rupees 1,08,000. Stock of stationery on 31st March 2019, the closing stock of stationery, rupees 5,000. And the creditors for stationery on 31st March 2019 at the close of the accounting period, is rupees 13,000. Also show how the above items will appear in the income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2019 and the balance sheet as at that date. So we'll begin with the working note. Stationery account. Left side debit side, right side credit side. We have particulars. Rupees. Particulars. Rupees. We need to prepare the creditors for stationery account also, since credit purchases are being made. Creditors for stationery account, left side debit, right side credit. Particulars. Rupees. Particulars. Rupees. We'll begin with the stock of stationery at the beginning of the year, 30,000 rupees, to balance brought down 30,000 rupees. The creditors for stationery at the beginning of the year, 20,000 rupees, by balance brought down 20,000 rupees. The amount which is paid for stationery during the year ended 31st March 2019 is rupees 1,08,000 rupees. So to bank account, 1,08,000 rupees. The closing stock of stationery, 5,000 rupees, by balance carried down 5,000 rupees, and the closing balance amount owing to creditors, 13,000 rupees. To balance carried down 13,000. We will first balance the creditors for stationery account to find out the amount of credit purchases. Greater total 1,21,000 on both sides, by credit purchases. ₹1,01,000. This will be taken to the debit of the stationery account as two credit purchases. ₹1,01,000. We'll balance the stationery account, 1,31,000 greater total on both sides. Balancing figure, 1,26,000 rupees to cost of stationery consumed. So this is the working note. We'll go ahead with the solution. Solution. Income and expenditure account. Extract for year ended 31st March 2019. Left side debit, right side credit. Expenditure, rupees. Income, rupees to cost of stationery consumed. We will take it from the stationery account. The cost of the stationery which has been consumed is 1,26,000 rupees. We move ahead with the balance sheet at the beginning of the accounting period. Extract as at 1st April 2018. Liabilities on the left and assets on the right. The stock of stationery is an asset. The opening stock of stationery amount rupees 30,000, and the amount owing to creditors in the beginning of the year. Creditors for stationery 20,000 rupees. The balance sheet at the end of the accounting period, the extract. Balance sheet as at 31st March 2019. On the left is the liabilities, and on the right is the assets. The closing stock of stationery. The closing stock at the end of the accounting period, 5,000 rupees. And the amount owing to creditors for stationery at the end of the accounting period, 13,000 rupees. So we've completed the solution. We'll view it. The sum is on top. We began with the working note, both the stock of stationery account as well as the creditors for stationery account we prepared, and we were able to find out the cost of the stationery which was consumed. And these are the solution: the extract of the income and expenditure account, extract of the opening balance sheet, as well as the extract of the closing balance sheet. Let's go to the third example sum. Third example sum. Punya Trust runs a charitable hospital. How will the following items be dealt with while preparing the income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2019 and the balance sheet as at that date? The particulars are given. The stock of medicines, the opening stock is 30,000, whereas the closing stock rupees 5,000. Creditors for medicines, amount owing at the beginning of the year 20,000 rupees, and amount owing at the end of the accounting period 13,000 rupees. Advance paid for medicines on 31st March 2019, end of the accounting period, the amount of advance which is paid to creditors 13,000 rupees. Advance paid for medicines carried forward from the year ended 31st March 2018 is rupees 2,000, and amount paid for medicines during the year is rupees 1,08,000 rupees. We'll begin with the working notes. Stock of medicines account. Left side debit side, right side credit. Particulars. rupees particulars, rupees creditors for medicines account, left side debit, right side credit, particulars, rupees particulars, rupees. The opening stock of medicines is given as 30,000 rupees. To balance brought down 30,000 rupees. Closing stock rupees 5,000 by balance carried down. Closing stock of medicines 5,000 rupees. The creditors for medicines amount owing at the beginning of the accounting period rupees 20,000 by balance brought down 20,000 rupees, and the amount owing at the end of the accounting period to balance carried down 13,000 rupees. The advance paid for medicines at the end of the accounting period on 31st March 2019, 13,000 rupees. So that will come here as by balance carried down 13,000 rupees. And the opening amount of advance to the creditors as on 31st March 2018 is rupees 2,000. So that's an asset having a debit balance. So to balance brought down 2,000 rupees. The last item, amount paid for medicines during the year 1,08,000 rupees. So to bank account 1,08,000 rupees. So let's balance the creditors for medicines account to get the amount of credit purchases of medicines. The greater total 1,23,000. We need to subtract the total of the credit side, which is 33,000. We are left with 90,000 as the amount of the credit purchases. By credit purchase of medicines, balancing figure 90,000 rupees. So that we will take here to credit purchases, ₹90,000, and on balancing the stock of medicines account, we are left with 1,15,000 rupees being the cost of medicines consumed, which needs to be taken to the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account. So we are done with the working notes. Let's go ahead with the solution. Solution. Income and expenditure account. Extract for year ended 31st March 2019. Left side debit, right side credit. we have expenditure rupees and income rupees. 2. Cost of medicines consumed. We'll take it from the stock of medicines account, 1,15,000 rupees. We'll move ahead with the balance sheet extract at the beginning of the accounting period. Balance sheet extract as at 1st April 2018. Liabilities on the left and assets on the right. We'll begin with the stock of medicines account at the beginning of the accounting period. Stock of medicines. On 1st April 2018, the stock of medicines was 30,000 rupees. The amount owing to creditors for medicines at the beginning of the year, 20,000 rupees. Creditors for medicines, 20,000 rupees. And there is an advance paid for medicines which is carried forward from 31st March 2018, 2,000 rupees. So, advance to creditors for medicines, 2,000 rupees. Next, we'll go on to prepare the extract of the closing balance sheet. Balance sheet extract as at 31st March 2019. Left side liabilities and right side assets. The closing stock of medicines, rupees 5,000. The closing amount owing to creditors for medicines, from the information given, it's 13,000 rupees. And advance given to creditors of medicines. The amount of the closing advance again is 13,000 rupees. We've completed the solution. We'll view it. So that's the example sum on top. These are the working notes. The stock of medicines account and the creditors for medicines account. And this is the solution. Extract of income and expenditure account, the extract of the opening balance sheet, and the extract of the closing balance sheet. Let's move on to the fourth example sum. Example 4. How are the following cases dealt with while preparing the final accounts of National Club for the year ended 31st March 2019? The receipts and payments account extract is given for the year ended 31st March 2019. On the debit side, on the receipts side, we've got sale proceeds of 1,30,000 after selling sports materials whose book value is rupees 1 lakh, which means there's a gain on sale of rupees 30,000. On the payment side, by Creditas for sports materials, the amount paid to Creditas for sports materials is given as rupees 3,05,000, and the amount paid for cash purchases of sports materials is rupees 50,000. The balances of sports materials and Creditas for sports materials are given both at the beginning of the accounting period, which is 1st April 2018, and at the end of the accounting period, which is 31st March 2019. So we'll begin with the working notes. Stock of sports materials account. Left side debit, right side credit. Particulars. Rupees. Particulars. Rupees. At the bottom, we'll prepare the Creditas for sports materials account. Left side debit, right side credit. Particulars. Rupees. Particulars. Rupees. We'll begin by inserting the balances of stock of sports materials to balance. Brought down. Opening balance of stock of sports materials 1 lakh rupees. By balance carried down, the closing balance of stock of sports materials 1,25,000 rupees. We'll insert the balances for Creditas for sports materials. Opening amount owing to Creditas by balance brought down is given as 35,000 rupees. To balance carried down, the closing amount which is owing to Creditas 75,000 rupees. And the amount paid to Creditas for sports materials, we can get it from the payment side. The amount paid is 3,05,000 rupees. So to bank account, for amount paid to Creditas 3,05,000 rupees. We'll balance the Creditas for sports materials account and get the amount of the credit purchases. The greater total 3,80,000 on both sides, and by credit purchases 3,80,000 rupees minus 35,000 rupees. We are left with credit purchase amount of 3,45,000 balancing figure. We need to debit the credit purchases amount to the stock of sports materials account to credit purchases. The amount which was the balancing figure of Creditas for sports materials account, the 3,45,000. We'll also enter the cash purchases which are made, rupees 50,000 to cash purchases. 50,000 rupees. There's a sale of sports materials. Sale proceeds is 1,30,000 by bank for sale proceeds. ₹1,30,000. Gain on sale rupees 30,000 to be debited to the sports materials account. gain on sale of sports materials. Gain on sale is 1,30,000 minus the book value, which is 1 lakh. So it comes up to 30,000 rupees. We'll balance the sports materials account to find out the cost of sports materials consumed. The greater total is on the debit side. 5,25,000 greater total. 5,25,000 minus the total of the credit side, 2,55,000 rupees. We are left with 2,70,000 rupees as the cost of sports materials which is consumed, the balancing figure. So this amount needs to be taken to the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account. And also the gain on sale of sports materials needs to be taken to the income side of the INE account, income and expenditure account. So let's go ahead with the solution. Solution. Income and expenditure account. Extract for the year ended 31st March 2019. Left side debit, right side credit. We have expenditure rupees, income rupees. 2. Cost of sports materials consumed. The amount consumed is 2,70,000 rupees. We'll also insert the gain on sale of sports materials. Gain on sale of sports materials, 30,000 rupees. Balance sheet. Extract as at 1st April 2018. Left side liabilities and right side assets. The opening stock of sports materials. It's given as 1 lakh rupees. And the amount owing to creditors for sports materials at the beginning of the accounting period, given as 35,000 rupees. We'll move on to the extract of the closing balance sheet. Balance sheet extract as at 31st March 2019. Left side liabilities, right side assets. The closing stock of sports materials. The closing stock is given as 1,25,000 rupees. And the amount owing to creditors for sports materials at the end of the accounting period is given as 75,000 rupees. So we've completed the answer. We'll view the solution. That's the question on top. Followed by the working notes, the stock of sports materials account. And the creditors for sports materials account. And this is the solution. The income and expenditure account form extract, balance sheet opening extract, and closing balance sheet extract. So in this video, we have solved example sums relating to the concept of cost of materials consumed.